Hello everyone and welcome to the Pitskill.io Porsche Cup and BMW M2 Multiclass, sponsored by SimQuips. And this week we are at the home of our two illustrious manufacturers, at the Nürburgring, where the heavens have well and truly opened, and it's going to cause one hell of a challenge for those drivers in the rear-engined, rear-wheel drive cars with no traction control, as Busso GT proving my point for me there as he finds himself on the exit of the arena section and very much not facing the right direction. So that will be invalidating this lap for him. We find out who else is well into the first flying lap. I think we did see Christian Vega going past. And I don't think that is going to be the last spin we see in this session, or very much in this event. They get coming through onto the third sector, descending the hill. And through the chicane we go, sliding all the way, and that is going to be a characteristic of this week's event. If you're not going sideways, you're not pushing hard enough. As Vega is actually the third of our drivers to cross the line with a 208.1, as Johan left crossing the line just behind for a 206.647 and put himself on the top of our timing board for tonight. Still yet to see a lap from a number of our drivers out there tonight, as Martin is coming around the final corner. Interesting to see how a driver on a controller, if the team name still to be believed, copes with these conditions. A 212.222. Plenty of time to find in there, as left stays on the top of our timing board for now. Check in with our series sponsor, Chris SimQuips right. As he emerges through to start the second sector. Very long first sector here at this Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. A little bit of traffic up ahead. I believe that is the Rexy of Tadeusz Zazinski. It is indeed, going very sideways through the Schumacher S's. And it looks like these drivers are having a lot of fun out there. And I wonder if, we know the Porsche Cups definitely have no traction control, but will some of the M2 runners be brave enough to switch off that traction control? We heard from our race winner last week, Andy Hudson, that he definitely found some pace in the dry from switching off the TC. I think tonight, though, he may keep that switched well and truly on. As Chris Wright hooks up the final apex of the circuit, guns down to the start-finish line to set what will be his first flying lap, a 209.477. Still some almost 3 seconds off of the pole setting pace at the moment, with left still sitting pretty at the top of the timing tower. Who else have we yet to see a lap from? Manuel on tracks. Rounding the final corner now on a valid lap at the moment, though I don't think it's going to be an especially fast one. As he keeps it pinned to the line. It will be a 2:13.282. And no other drivers are out of time on a valid lap at the moment, so let's see who is improving. And the first of those improvers are going to be Lars Fahey, who's going to wish his car had four-wheel drive in these conditions. Unfortunately not. It's got the same Porsche Cup as everyone else despite the livery, and sets a 2:08.155. Getting closer to that pole time. We've got a good number of drivers sitting around that high 207, low 208s. Into competition in that area of the timing tower, as Tadeusz Szynski coming up start the final sector. Actually, continue on the final sector of this circuit. No. The circuits are really odd. If you take a look at this track map, that final sector is nothing. Very confusing track. Anyhow, Tadeusz Szynski keeping it pinned through this long straight into the chicane. Plenty of opportunities to make a mistake through there in these conditions. Surprised we've not seen many yellow flags out for this session. Oh, we're saying that. 2 yellow flags appearing on my timing tower just now. Perhaps the commentator's curse is more powerful than we feared. Again, another low 2:08.150 there from Szynski. Slotting in just ahead of Fahey as we have another lap being set by John Sawyer to take P4, 2:07.497. As Johan Leff at the top of the leaderboard with no Reece Tattersall in our race tonight, setting the timing tower ablaze with a 2:05.740, 1.36 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. This is a dominant display from Leff, and with the rain backing off slightly, could be an interesting complexion to the qualifying for the M2s, which is about to get started very shortly, as Lars Fahey 2:07.3. These conditions seemingly getting just that bit better. There's a number of drivers pulling over now, somewhat prematurely, I think, as should still be a little while. I would have thought before the BMWs head up. Nope, they're heading out already. Perhaps I got my timing on that wrong. I thought they were meant to head out with 9 minutes remaining. As Chris Wright, the last of our drivers to be on a majorly improving lap. Well, that being said, we will check in with Johan Leff with 2 corners to go. Caning it around the chicane. Has got some traffic ahead of him. But this will likely end up being the absolute pace-setting lap as the rain starts to back off slightly and as Leff crosses the line, getting into the slipstream. A 2:05.477 will be pole position for Porsche Cups. I believe as Chris Wright comes around the final corner to complete what will be his final flying lap of the session. Looks to be on for a good improvement here. Slipping into the 2:07s at the very last moment, a 2:07.985 to put Chris Wright in P9 for tonight's race. As we've got a number of our M2s out on track now. The last race winner, Andy Hudson. Not sure if he is running traction control, but getting that car awfully sideways for a number of these corners. And just ahead of him is Kevin Mulder. Mulder actually not the first car out on track. That honour goes to Roland Schricker. Will be the first of our M2s to set a lap. The awfully quiet M2s sound almost like electric cars, how quiet these things are, but I can assure you, do have an internal combustion engine, just a very, very small one. As Sugar rounds final corner. Ooh. Okay, we don't have the onboard cameras. Thanks ACC Drive for completely ruining my broadcasting tools. Sugar going very deep into the first corner and invalidating straight away. So we'll hop back and check in with Kevin Mulder. Apologies to those of you drivers who do like the onboard cameras. We will be having none of those this week as yeah, ACC Drive has broken my game. There's Mulder getting a nice slipstream there from Roland Schricker, who, as we know, has invalidated his lap, so it should hopefully get out of the way of Mulder. And does do so. And through down towards the hairpin as Andy Hudson going for an illegal overtake, it looks like. Or was he just pushing Mulder on down the track? As well, somewhat frowned upon in Pitskill is overtaking on a flying lap. I'm not sure if was intentional there from Andy Hudson, but a naughty boy if it was. He will be the first of our drivers to set a flying lap. And into the chicane they go. Mulder a bit deep, bouncing over the curb on the inside. As Hudson keeps it pinned to the line, will be the first lap we get from the M2s, and it is a 2:18.8. Actually, only 1.6 seconds slower than the slowest of our Porsche Cup cars. And actually, with a couple of Porsche Cup cars not qualifying, it'll be an interesting start to the race. Whoa, Andy Hudson with a big tank slapper. There's Adam Vertusa in that distinctive pizza liveried car. Again, going very deep into the first corner. So many cars going deep into that first corner. Getting caught out by the long braking zone. There's Kenny Crows running a US team livery. I'm not sure if that might be an in-game livery. No idea. There's not many times set for the M2 class as of yet. Matthias Peltzer slowly catching up to Kevin Mulder as they climb up through the Schumacher S's. As Marco Lorenzon rounding the final corner. As the track continues to dry out slowly but surely. Lorenzon crossing the line with a 2:21.224. As next to set a lap will be Matthias Peltzer. These BMW M2s do take a little while to get heat into their tyres, so will probably be a number of laps before we see drivers on their overall pace. As Peltzer guns it to the line. What is a 2:19.590. will be followed home by T Lightbody, or Lightbot, sorry. I know this driver from elsewhere has many different names. To line P30 for now. That is P5 in class. As Robert Fish in the distinctive Team Fishkins. Just in the line with a 2:21.130. There's Dominic Scholes, 2:27.0. Still time to find out there with just under 2 minutes remaining in this session. One of those drivers are on their final laps for now, apart from perhaps Kevin Mulder and Andy Hudson. There's a few others will get a chance to get a second lap or a final lap in after this one. Mulder sending through the Schumacher S's, finding plenty of time on this lap. And disappearing out of shot there, and yep, invalidating that lap is Mulder as Andy Hudson retires to the pit lane. No further improvement coming from him. Next up to set their next attempt at a flying lap will be Lightbot. Going through the chicane, finding a decent chunk of time on this lap. Not quite going to be enough to challenge Andy Hudson, I don't think. But could see Lightbot jump substantially up the order. And Lightbot setting a 2:20.235. And Robert Fish going to cross the line. Going to be a 2:19.982 for the first of our drivers. See the checkered flag in the M2 class. For Boda, putting in P2 in class. Solid performance. As Latz climbs through the Schumacher S's, going a little bit deep into the first of the corners. Actually, no, so that wasn't the Schumacher S's, that was the 90-degree left at the top of the hill. And down towards chicane. And just the final hairpin to go. This should be a solid improvement here for Latz. And a little wide out of the final corner. It should be a solid improvement. Should get into the 2:19s, 2:19.940. Good lap to finish off the session. Another driver will be hoping for a good lap to finish their session. Kevin Mulder. Coming through the final chicane. Looking up both apex as well. Just needs to get a decent exit from the final corner. And this should be a solid improvement for Mulder. They cross the line up into P4 in class, 2:19.515. And Matthias Peltzer hopping up to take pole position in class away from Andy Hudson. And yep, I think that was a rare instance of the spectator's curse there coming out from Will. You can't say pole is pole, baby, until everyone has completed their final lap. As Andy Hudson will be starting this race from P2 in the BMWs, Matthias Pelzer snatching away that class pole position. And as our drivers line up on the grid, final adjustments for tyre pressures and fuel. We've got 43 drivers taking to the track tonight, with Johan Leff lining up alongside Luger on the first row of the grid. Good chance here for Leff to extend his championship lead. This will be the second of, I believe, 2 drop rounds for Reece Tattersall in this championship. So very good chance here for Johan Leff to secure himself a solid, strong foothold on the championship. Of course, still plenty of rounds left. As the drivers start their engines. And just to remind you, we have got Anderson and Swingley in the 2 Porsche Cups out of positions down in P40 and 42. We'll need to be very, very careful on this race start. As our pole sitter Johan Leff pulls away from his grid slot, will be followed by Hans Luger and Robert Weibeck down into the first corner. P4 will be Balazs Feher with John Sawyer in P5. Next will be Matthew Parry, who's had a by his standards, not the best of qualifyings. Usually see him up in the top 2 or 3 positions. Will be hoping to move his way forward in the race. As Sam McCarthy starts behind in P7. Also, starting in P8, just ahead of Chris Wright, our series sponsor, who will be starting this race in P9. Christian Fager starting in P10. With Tadeusz Szynski just behind, alongside Bjorn King, as the drivers already destroying some of the cones out there. Get them out of the way, ready for these first laps. I do like the riveted steel design on King's car there. Slightly more aggressive looking, actually looks more like a A10 warplane, to be honest. And beside him is Justin Hoffman. And we have Laurent Demour starting P14. Martin is starting in P15 ahead of Nitro in P16. Gregor Michalak in P17 ahead of David Little. Jakob in P19. Manuel Andrak starting P20 ahead of Alexander Frank. The 2 anime liveries alongside each other on the grid. Slavek Klinger, the 22, ahead of Tobias Beck. And then final 2 Porsche Cups will be William Broadhurst and Tim Ducharme. And then we have our BMWs, starting with the class pole position of Matthias Pelzer, followed by Andy Hudson Roland Schricker. And we have Svoboda, Kenny Kroos, Kevin Mulder, Michael J, Maya Van Dyke, Robert Fish, Latz, Lightbots, Marco Lorenzon, Adam Vertusa, Charles Anderson in the Porsche Cup out of position, Craig Douglas, the BMW M2, Jesper Swingley, Ro Suzuki, and Dominic Schultz. But we turn our attention to the front of the field as Christian Fager, it looks like, taking to the pit lane. Maybe not putting in enough fuel for this race, or the wrong tyres, as Leff and Luger taking to the first corner, and Leff trying to, Luger sweeping it around the outside, Fager trying to follow him, Fager getting a whole handful of oversteer, and it is Hans Luger who holds on and takes the lead of this race ahead of Johan Leff. Lars Fager moves up into P3 with Matthew Parry moving up 2 positions into P4. The big winners from this race start are Bjorn King up into P9 and Alexander Frank up 8 positions into P13. Solid start from all of these drivers. As up at the front of the field, the battle for the lead continues. Johan Leff up the inside of Hans Luger. They come too wide towards the Schumacher S's, and Luger just backing out ever so slightly. Leff ahead. There's a big snap there from Luger. Fager having a look. Will he look to the inside? Not quite close enough. Luger covers off the inside line, but Balazs Fager all over the back of that wayward Porsche. As they settle down back in the M2 field, we've had a little bit of chaos as Andy Hudson leads ahead of Svoboda. Matthias Peltzer down into P3 in that class. Check to see what has happened to Matthias Peltzer. So we can get a quick replay of that. Was that a little bit of a bump there from Roland Schricker, but I don't think that will have caused him to drop too much. As we are getting plenty of battling going on, as fastest laps going to some of our Porsche, our BMW M2s now, as the Porsches, I believe, do start the race ahead of the start-finish line. Some battling going on in the middle of the field as Lansky battling with Broadhurst and Nitro down at the bottom of the Porsche Cup field. As we also have battles down in our BMW M2 field as Andy Hudson holds on ahead of Svoboda. And looking like the rain will slowly fade away as I think there's Swingley off the circuit. And the Porsche Cup has allowed Matthias Peltzer through, and it will, with these conditions, I think, be somewhat a race of attrition, as David Little in the Porsche Cup, after an early incident, beginning to move his way back forward, as Johan Leff now clear at the front of this Porsche Cup field. has left Hans Luger defending ahead of Balazs Fehir, Matthew Parry and Robert Weibeck. It's the battle for P2 as Johan left. I was going to say disappears off into the sunset, but there's not much sun out here today. Coming down into the first corner as well are Bjorn King and Busso, as Busso goes extremely deep into the first corner and off, not only onto the runoff but into the gravel as well, to get himself quickly back onto the circuit and not lose out too many positions there. As up at the front of our Porsche Cup field, Hans Luger pulling away as incident for Chris Wright. To just get himself out onto the AstroTurf, not braking on the curbing, and that has sent Chris Wright around. I think he's going to be left waiting there for quite some time as the whole field comes up past him. Now down into P19 is Wright, as Balazs Fehir getting the move made on Hans Luger up the inside, up into P2, and now it's Matthew Parry who's on the offensive. So they climb up through the Schumacher S, and Luger going all over the show as Matthew Parry taking good avoiding action there. Luger slightly out of control off over the curbing. Matthew Parry leaving him plenty of space to have that incident all on his own, didn't want to get caught up in it. Moves himself up into the final podium position, and Hans Luger, I think, needs to get himself settled back into this race, calm down that right foot, and try and hold off the charging Robert Weibeck behind. As down in BMW land, Kenny Kroes finds himself in a little battle with Kevin Mulder and Lightbot. There's Kroes bouncing all over the curbing, getting a little bit of a slide. This could be an opportunity for Kevin Mulder to tuck into the slipstream. Don't think he's close enough to make a move into the chicane as they're almost bumper to bumper. As we're getting reports of a collision at turn 1. What has happened down at... Well, actually, this isn't at turn 1. Oh, a little bit of a double tap there from... there's Marco Lorenzon tapping the booty off the Porsche. And Sam McCarthy having a go at Matthew Parry up the inside. I suspect this actually might have been the part of the race where we may have seen a collision, as there's many changes of position for these drivers. As we've got yellow flags out for Busso, who's fallen back a number of positions. And Hans Luger going very sideways through the chicane. What has happened there? They come down towards the chicane, already going slightly sideways. Or just trying to overcorrect it, the car already going. And well done to Luger for not losing out too much with that hideous slide. Manages to hold on ahead of Balazs Fehir. And at the moment, Andy Hudson looking fairly comfortable at the lead of the M2 pack, is the closest car to him is that of Klinger in the wrong class. We have got some close battling over P5 in the M2 field. There's Kevin Mulder putting a little bit of a gap on Penny Crows, Tom Lightbot and Roland Strick behind us. Mulder now goes deep into the first corner. Corner that's catching out a lot of drivers tonight. And that now sees Mulder under serious attack from Penny Crows behind, as Lightbot also trying to get involved in this battle. He's just trying to take a look through this timing tower and work out which of these battles are full position, as Lightbot looking up the inside of Crows and, well, turned Crows around. Just have a look at that one from a different angle. As Lightbot not quite alongside enough to really make a go of that one. And that is Crows around. Up in Porsche Cup World, we have got some serious battling going on, as Hans Luger has got a little bit of a train forming behind him with our usual traction engine behind him, that of Balazs Fahey, and then John Sawyer, Sam McCarthy, Tadeusz Ozymski and Matthew Parry, all in close company. As Fahey looking for the better exit and the run down towards the hairpin. I don't think he's going to be close enough to have a legitimate go here into the hairpin, as Luger going defensive to the inside, washes wide of the apex. Fahey to the inside and a beautiful sweep around the inside. And Hans Luger now under pressure from John Sawyer, who's looking towards the inside of the Schumacher S's. Not a conventional place to be going on the attack, and John Sawyer getting shown the closing door and having to drop back, and that is putting Sawyer under pressure now from Sam McCarthy, as these four very tightly packed in the back of the, well, just off of the front running pack at the head of the Porsche Cup field. As they come towards the chicane, all staying in formation for now, and Balazs Fahey can start to live up to his team name, Big Wide Train, and he's got 17 minutes remaining of this race to keep this trainer going. As most of the Porsche Cups have made their way now through the BMW field, Andy Hudson leading Svoboda by 4.4 seconds ahead of P3 driver Matthias Peltzer. Just to keep you up to date with that battle, but Balazs Fahey in following behind this BMW is the 140 car of Schultz. Balazs Fahey just having to be careful to get his way through that, as Hans Luger keeping him honest, keeping him company as they descend through the hill, and well, I think that is the BMW of Craig Douglas, who finds himself stricken there in the middle of the corner. We come down into the hairpin. Balazs just defending that inside line. They wind their way around towards the Schumacher S. They're holding on here for the moment, but With such intense battling, it looks like Luger with a much better exit from the Schumacher S and gets himself up into P3. And while they're battling like this, Robert Weibeck extending that gap ahead, and Johann Leff has completely disappeared in P1 in this Porsche Cup class. Remind you again, this is the battle for P3 in the Porsche Cups. And in this battle we have Hans Luger, Balázs Fehér, John Sawyer, Sam McCarthy, Tadeusz Ozzinski and Matthew Parry. You just see them winding through the final corner there. In your view, as we got yellow flags out for Johann Leff. What has happened to our race leader? Looks like he's all on his own there, coming through the first corner. And oh, just a little bit too much right foot and a very sad slide onto the grass. And this now has gifted the lead of the race over to Robert Weibeck. Didn't look like the collision with the tyre wall was too significant there for Leff. They should still have plenty of pace. We know these Porsche Cup cars are a robust piece of machinery. So Leff should still have the pace to charge down this contender. But the Nürburgring GP circuit, not the easiest of tracks to overtake on. And Leff, with work remaining to do, looks to the inside, perhaps getting a little impatient, a little bit frustrated at his own mistake. Needs to cool it down, has got plenty of time left in this race, but cannot afford to make another mistake. As Balázs Fehér getting past Hans Luger. And what happened to Luger here through Schumacher S? Oh, getting out on that entry curb, and that sent him into a slide which, well held in the end. Managed to only lose out on one position. Suspect he did find himself under heavy attack coming down the rest of that straight. As ahead of them, Weibeck and Leff continue to battle over the lead in this race and the lead of this Porsche Cup class. And a little bit of oversteer on exit for Weibeck could spell the end to his stint of leading this race. As Johann Leff, looking to the inside, will be wary, knowing what happened to him on this corner last time around. Goes in deep for the apex, is going to be surely sensible on the throttle, but not that sensible, getting his rear in a real old wiggle there. And now catching up onto the back of this BMW traffic, the heavily damaged car there of Fish. As they make their way through the traffic, it's Leff, the first one through, and I think Weibeck perhaps getting caught out a little bit there. As we see Batusa off the circuit as well. So Johann Leff now retaking the lead of this race after his earlier spin ahead of Robert Weibeck. The battle over P3 just simmering down ever so slightly. The next battle on the field is Sam McCarthy holding off ahead of John Sawyer, Matthew Parry and Tadeusz Ozzinski. They'll say the battle for P3 is dying down, but it's not really. It's just meeting a lot of traffic. As cars everywhere you look as we head down into the 90-degree left, and both Sam McCarthy and John Sawyer around. A little bit of a clumsy overtake there, or overtake attempt I should say that, from John Sawyer. He sticks his nose alongside McCarthy. I think just getting a handful of oversteer there into the corner, and that has sent both McCarthy and Sawyer off the track. And slightly broken up this battle for P3. we've got some new battles going on further down in our Porsche Cup order, as Martin holding off ahead of Hoffman and Antrax. Although saying that, Antrax now not too much involved in that battle as they slam themselves into the pit wall. And Martin doing well, holding on ahead of Hoffman. As the rain just spreading the field out ever so slightly. Drivers are opting for caution over aggression as Martin, well, showing us a little bit of a drift there, coming down through these fast flowing corners of the first sector here at the Nürburgring. As we have yellow flags out for Jesper Swingley. Back on the circuit. As we have a battle brewing, well, I say a battle, it was maybe a misguided lunge from Svoboda on Meyer van Dijk. Down into the first corner, getting very much out onto the curbing and making a very wide run around the first corner. See Svoboda dropping some 4 seconds back as, oh, what on earth is happening here? Oh, it's all getting a little bit clumsy through the Schumacher S's. Oh no! Oh! No one actually hit each other until they came off the track. I was expecting a big old dive there, but nope, they just had a synchronized crash. Sympathy slide, if you will. There's Matthew Parry holding on in P5 ahead of Tadeusz Szynski. Just meeting a little bit of back marker traffic, making his way by. Once again, they ascend through the Schumacher S. Up on some of the M2s who wisely get themselves out of the way. Szynski getting himself caught out just a little bit. Impatience showing there, but navigates his way around Kevin Mulder and can continue to chase on. Well, I was going to say continue to chase on after Matthew Parry, but then we have got a light spot between them. Now he can continue his chase on to Matthew Parry. Once again, chucking their way through the chicane. Drivers doing well to keep it tidy through that chicane, actually. Expected at the start of this race it might be an incident hotspot, but so far so good. As John Sawyer has made his way up past Bjorn King up into P9 after his earlier incident with Sam McCarthy. Oh, Martin still holding on ahead of Michalak and Antrax, and actually forcing Michalak into a little bit of a mistake there as Antrax looking, glancing to the outside as they both make their way around the BMW ahead. Not a chance for attacking here for Antrax, but now the battle behind Martin really hotting up As we have Antrax, Michalak, Wright and Hoffman all joining in this battle. After his earlier unforced error, Chris Wright trying to climb his way back up. Now in P14. What can he do from this position? Closing down on Michalak, but perhaps slightly over pushing as he runs wide of the apex. I'm not sure if we've just seen an incident for Tadeusz Szynski. Oh, but we caught the end of it. Definitely been an incident there for Tadeusz Szynski. You see him rejoining the circuit. Sam McCarthy now some 4 seconds up the road. As Martin continuing to hold on ahead of Antrax and Michalak. They'll make their way through the hairpin. Martin with a little bit of traffic up ahead. And this still the battle over P11 in this race. And they're catching up to a pack of BMWs ahead. And traffic always presents opportunities, for better or for worse. So they come down again onto the start-finish straight. Michalak having a look up the inside of Antrax. They head down towards the first corner. Need to be careful on the braking here, as Antrax not especially careful on the braking and presenting an opportunity here for Michalak and Wright to make their way by. So Michalak and Wright up one more position into P12 and 13, as Michalak getting very nervous on the throttle there. Chris Wright put himself right under that rear wing of Michalak. Martin just trying to hold on ahead of this battle, and Michalak aiming for those late apexes, it looks like, just trying to concentrate on getting the best possible exit. As again, catching up to that BMW traffic. All it takes is catching one of these cars at the wrong place at the wrong time. The complexion of this battle could change completely. There's up in P3. And to Lugo. Whoa, and it's a late dive there from Michalak. And well controlled overtake. And well, I think we're going to have to take a look at that one again, because that was supreme work from Gregor Michalak. Lined it up beautifully, point the car at the apex, and yeah, just use the stopping power of the car to get yourself to that apex first. And now Martin find themselves under pressure from right behind, and Antrax also getting in on this battle. As the deep dive there from Wright, going to try and hang it around the outside. We'll turn to the inside for turn 2, but is there going to be enough of an overlap? As Martin holding on very well around the outside. What a great battle we're seeing between this pack of cars here down in the midfield, as they're basically nose to tail through this sequence of turns. And Martin holding on to P12 for now, lost out of that position with a great dive from Michalak. But with just under a minute remaining, we will see one more lap after this one the drivers are currently on. As Johan Leff will be crossing the line shortly to start their final lap. As this battle just catching up on the M2s of Mulder and Lightbot. As they climb their way up through the Schumacher S again. And Johan Leff now on the final lap of this race. We also have a battle over P2 in this race. As Robert Weibeck going to hold on to position ahead of Balazs Fahir and Hans Luger. And behind, we're going to check in again with this battle over P12 as Chris Wright exceptionally close now to the back of Martin. And Martin holding on well for now as Luger in that battle over P3 in the race, or P2 in the race I should say. Oh, just running wide, and I think, yep, trying to get on the throttle a little bit too early, trying to over-rotate that car after running the car wide. And always a recipe for oversteer. So now it's become a two-horse race over P2. Weibeck and Fahir as they come again through the Schumacher S for the final time. And looking like Weibeck has a reasonably comfortable lead over Fahir. It's never over until the checkered flag. And talking of which, Johan Leff with just a few corners left to go before the checkered flag. So Johan Leff rounds the final corner onto the start finish straight, see the checkered flag and take race win for round 3 here at the Nürburgring. Who will be followed by Robert Weibeck at P2, followed closely behind by Balazs Fahir taking P3. Matthew Parry finished P4, followed by Sam McCarthy and Hans Luger. As approaching the final chicane is our race leader in the BMW M2 class, Andy Hudson, in the only Dad's Racing liveried car to take his second win in a row. Andy Hudson with a considerable gap back to Matthias Peltzer in P2. And well done to Meyer van Dijk taking P3 in class, followed by Roland Stricker and Kevin Mulder to take P5 in class. A good first round for T Lightbot, take P6 in the TCX BMW class. As some of our drivers take the opportunity in the wet to do some donuts. Who is that? Chris Wright. I'm not sure what you've done to deserve donuts, but have at it, I guess. Celebrate your P12. As Matthias Peltzer celebrates P2. Some great looking donuts there from the very much not four-wheel drive Balazs Fahir. Okay, those were some good donuts. Well, thank you very much for watching, everyone. That was quite a chaotic race, and not surprising considering the very wet conditions out there on circuit. But a well done to all of our podium finishers. Johan Leff, Robert Weibeck and Balazs Fahir in the Porsche Cup class, and Andy Hudson, Matthias Peltzer and Meyer van Dijk in the BMW TCX class. All remains to say thank you very much for watching, everyone. Remember to tune in on Wednesday on the pitskill.io YouTube and Twitch channels, where Terry will be hosting the VIP trophy at the Nürburgring. And then next week, be sure to tune in when we will have what will likely be the crown jewel of this series for the Porsche Cup and BMW Multiclass. We will be heading to Bathurst. And I expect lots of pain for the Porsche Cups in the traffic of the BMW M2s. So, yeah, do look forward to that one. It is going to be absolute chaos. Until next time, I have been your host, Roy Weller. Thank you very much again for watching. Until next time, have a very good rest of your day. Goodbye.